Yes, that's what I missed that. Going back a few years, there used to be a gentleman who used to host them.
That's right, Lance. He's worked here for a million years.
And he was awesome.
Yeah, he is awesome.
Is he associated with this?
Yes, so he helped pick the film program for
and
this
will he
one.
introduce it?
I don't know. Is he going to? Oh, he's going to introduce one of them.
Honestly, like I'm a huge film buff as well.
He's
I
excellent.
kind of enjoyed him more than anyone. He used to give intros and he even used to make notes, and he actually kind of really increased my love of cinema.
Oh, that's fantastic. I'll tell him that. Yeah.
Not just me. I remember another guy I saw recently. He said the same thing. He said, remember that guy used to do that?
Yeah, Lance, with the long hair. Yeah. So he used to do a radio show on 4ZZZ radio for years and years and years about film. But yeah, I'm going to pass that. I'll pass that along.
He's very knowledgeable.
Yes, he is. All right, we're going to start under the car bonnet. Yep, we'll start up here. That's right.
In 1959.
That's right.
That one was in 1972.
Oh, we've got two different dates. Oh, this photo was taken in 1972, but this was the first drive-in shopping centre. Oh. It's just that photo was taken in 1972. That's what we're...
in 1959.
Yes, that's right.
It was called the drive-in.
Yes, drive-in shopping centre.
Yeah. The drive-in shopping centre.
Yeah, it was
Before that, you couldn't sort of park in big shopping centres.
No.
There was no shopping centres.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Town.
Yeah. So that photo was taken in 1972. Yeah.
It's not first drive-in.
No.
Chermy was.
Yeah, no, that's Chermside.
Yeah, but it's not Chermside Shopping Centre.
Oh, okay, yes. Actually, someone else has pointed that out to us, and we are going to update that label and take that out. But we thought it was. Yeah. Okay. We're going to get the no, that's okay. We're going to get the tour started. So welcome everybody to our summer exhibition for 2025, which is Driven. Every car has a story. My name's Anna Fergal. I should have worn my name tag. I curated the exhibition and I work here at State Library working with our heritage collections. And this is Patrick, who is an exhibitions producer, so he helped bring the exhibition to life. So I guess I'd also like to acknowledge the traditional owners of Kurilpa Point, which is where we're meeting today. So we like to think that we carry on the tradition of sharing and learning and talking stories. So we had the idea a little while ago that we wanted to delve into our collections and look at cars and our relationship with them in Queensland. So we hope it's a very Queensland-based show because that is the focus of our collections. We start off in this area, which is births, deaths and marriages, because when you think about it, cars are there all throughout our lives, from the time we're a baby, brought home from hospital in the car, in a capsule in the car, through to school, going to school, first dates, getting married, getting your first car, buying your first new car, which is probably different to getting your first car, right through to the end when you might take your final ride in a hearse. So these photographs along here kind of depict that. So we're going from childhood, family outings to the beach, toy cars. There are a lot of toy cars we found actually in our home movie collection. So throughout you'll find snippets from our home movies. We've got loads and loads of them from the 1930s through to about the late 70s, early 1980s. So yeah, this section looks at that sort of birth to death relationship with cars. So we've got looks like a newly married couple here. We've got lots of brides. This is a photograph of Mal Meninga and his brother Jeffrey with their father Norm standing proudly in front of their fairly new looking car. That's in Bundaberg. We've got a pride rally. We've got the drive-in theatre. We've got this lovely photo which is just titled Gwen and My New Car. So he's very proud that he bought a brand new car there. And then a hearse procession through the city. But also in this section we thought we would look at Queensland first. So starting up in that far corner, we've got a photograph from 1902, which is James Crackling and his wife in Queensland's first powered motorised vehicle. It's powered by steam and it was called a locomobile. We think he brought it into the country in 1892, something like that, but it was definitely Queensland's first motorised vehicle. There's a few other photos in the collection which you might have seen him driving in front of Old Parliament House on George Street. So it was a big thing when it arrived, because you can imagine how different that was from a horse and cart or horses. And then here we have the first car made in Queensland. So this was called a buggy, I think. It was made by the Trevethan brothers in Toowoomba. So they ran a coach works, so they were building coaches for horses, and they tried their hand at building a car. So a lot of this was happening in the very, very early part of the 1900s, because you could import engines, and then they had to work out steering systems, braking systems, and all that sort of thing. So there was a lot of sort of experimentation going on around that time. And then we found that invariably when the first car was turned up in a town around Queensland, it would always end up in the local newspaper. So this is Allara's first car. We've got the first car in Mullaney, and this is Mossman's first car in 1919. We have a lady driver here, Dr. Eleanor Greenham, Constance Greenham, Eleanor. It's interesting, she was a founding member of RACQ. There were about 18 founding members, all the early motorists in Brisbane, and most of them were doctors. And I think that the doctors loved motor cars because it got them to their patients quickly who were in need. So, and they're obviously maybe a bit more wealthy as well, because it would have been very, very expensive to buy a car in those days. But we'll talk a little bit more about the RACQ later on. So we've got the Queen's first visit in one of her beautiful cars, or our beautiful cars. We've got Queensland's first drive-through bottle shop. So this was at Breakfast Creek Hotel. Great innovation that was.
What year is that?
Well, this photo was taken in 1955. So I'd say, it's early 1950s. Yeah. So here, as this lady and gentleman just pointed out, this is not Chermside Shopping Centre. It's the Kmart that opened at Chermside. But Chermside Shopping Centre was indeed Australia's first drive-in shopping centre, which was the prototype for all the shopping malls that came afterwards. And that was sort of built on the foundations of cars opening up suburbia. So in years following World War II, it was quite a prosperous time, a boom era, and more people could afford cars, which meant you could live further out of the city and kind of commute a bit more. And so cars helped shape suburbia, not just in Brisbane but all around Queensland and Australia and the world. We'll move on. So yes, do come back and have a look at the home movies. There's lots of weddings in here, but there's also a lot of other things as well. So down here we have some images from our Corley collection. So Frank and Eunice Corley were a couple that used to drive up and down the streets of southeast Queensland, photographing every house on the street. And they would then sell those photos back to the homeowner, or try to. I think they made their living that way. He drove a pink Cadillac and she drove a Bedford van behind him, developing the photos as they went along. And what we ended up with is the negatives for the images that weren't bought by the homeowners. We thought it was interesting to just have a look at the way people were housing their cars back in those days. So this was around the mid-1960s or so, and I guess cars were still newish at that time. So you can see a lot of houses don't have any garage or carport. The more modern ones do. And I really like this one here where they've just squeezed the car in between the stumps underneath the house, which I've done before. So yeah, we'll move on through to here. This section is called the open road, and I guess we're looking at those big road trips that we used to take in our cars before air travel was so widely accessible like it is today, or more affordable. We used to take trips in our cars, and the journey was just as much fun as the destination in a lot of ways. So we're looking at roads, traffic, tourism, that sort of stuff. But I just wanted to point this photo out. This we loaned quite a few things from the Department of Transport and Main Roads, and this one is simply called Cairns to Innisfail Road. So that would have been like the prototype of the Bruce Highway. We don't know what date that was taken, but probably 1920s-ish. I can't imagine driving over something like that. This is the Hornibrook Highway. So following, at the end of the Great Depression and then through the war eras, more and more bridges were built around Brisbane, southeast Queensland, but the Hornibrook Highway was very well loved, a quick and easy way to Redcliffe from Brisbane, and it was known for its bumps. So I used to drive over it and go up and down like that. This is the Southeast Freeway being built in that's 76. So it's only, the Captain Cook Bridge has only just been built at that stage. Of course we have the big pineapple, we have cars driving to the beach, meter maids, a promotional photograph which I think is saying only naughty kids hitchhike. So this guy's got his thumb out, he's got a pack of cigarettes, surfboard with a cop standing in the background. Quite funny. But hitchhiking was seen as pretty dangerous back in those days. We've got traffic, lots of traffic, early caravanning shops. So this is 1940 or thereabouts. We didn't really go into the whole caravanning or van life thing because that was a whole other thing and it would open a massive can of worms. So we just included that one photograph. Story Bridge, and then more shots of the open road. But I'll just point out a few things in this cabinet. So this, we included some maps, the tourist maps, which were quite important when you were travelling from here to there. That the back of that orangey map tells you the time it took to get from city to city. But then we also included these refodexes. So there's a whole generation, maybe under the age of about 30, who would not know what a refodex is. So it was the Google Maps of its day. And I remember my mum, I mean every car had one. If you looked under the driver's seat you'd find a refodex.
20-year-old one still under the seat.
Do you? I remember my mum used to, if we were going somewhere new, she used to plan out the journey and bookmark the pages because you'd have to, the maps joined on different pages, so you'd have to go flip forward, flip backwards to find your way around. Yeah, and then the old, a bit of a nod to the old toll roads that used to be a bit more, well, less prevalent than they are today probably, but yeah, there used to be people who lived up near the toll and they were there 24/7 to collect tolls. The Indooroopilly Bridge is a good example, so it had an apartment for the toll master at each end of the bridge. Yeah, so we'll just move on down this way. I don't know if you remember the driver revivers, but they've kind of died out since COVID, I think. They were mainly volunteer run, but we had some Transport and Main Roads people in the other day and they said, oh, there's all this stuff around insurance and safety and all that sort of thing. So it was too hard to do them anymore, but I used to rely on those myself, living in Mackay. This is the old border crossing between Queensland and New South Wales. Beautiful Kira Beach with the lifesaving club there. Petrol stations, of course, were a big part of any road trip. And then I guess everyone knows that feeling of being piled up behind someone on the highway. So this is actually a race, a festival of cyclists cycling out in the outback somewhere. And again, more home movies here of those tourist spots and big long road trips. So down here we have the RACQ story. RACQ is 120 years old, but this year is the 100th anniversary of its roadside assistance. So as I mentioned before, it was founded by 18 motorists who came from around Brisbane, and I guess they were pretty instrumental in getting the government to think about cars. Cars are here to stay. We need traffic lights, we need signage, we need better roads. The roads were absolutely churned up by the new cars that were arriving. So the government had to respond to that, and cars weren't going anywhere. So the RSEQ were very helpful and very strong advocates. But also in 1925, they started sending out 2 mechanics on Sundays and public holidays to just search for stranded drivers in Brisbane and around the area, because they were the busy days for road tripping. So we've got a few photos from our collection. We've got some car badges. They've done Motorfest, which is now Breeze Fest, I think, every year for about 30 years now. And they used to run all sorts of, they have all sorts of arms to their business. Here we've got a whole display of road signs, old road signs, which came from the Department of Transport and Main Roads as well. And when you think about it, signage is pretty important on roads, so we'd be a bit lost without them. I guess we have Google Maps these days, but your phone doesn't work everywhere you go. But we thought they were just really beautiful in their own right as well. So in this part of the gallery, we have the section called Car Cultures. So this is all about the love and deep passion that people have for cars, celebrating it, I guess, and highlighting it. So we couldn't fit a real car in the gallery. Obviously it's big enough, but we just couldn't get it through the doors. So instead we've borrowed this inflatable car, which is actually an artwork by an artist called Robert Moore. It's a replica of a GTS Monaro. It's about 1.5 times the size of a real one, and it's actually going to inflate and deflate a few times a day, because we've worked out that's best for the plastic, because it's about 30 years old now. But you'll see it's got seats inside, and it's got its own engine up the front there as well. So yeah, it'll be going down at 11:30 and then back up at 12:30. And so we also wanted to, I guess, highlight how cars, not only are they the subject of passion for normal people, but also artists love them as well. And when we started looking, we found a lot of cars in artworks or car adjacent things. So this is a 1-to-1 replica of a Sig Chrome tool cabinet made by the artist called Eamon O'Toole. Good name. And he's made this out of plastic and aluminium leaf. And it's quite incredible. Each item was individually wrapped, and there was a tag hanging where each thing went. And he does a lot of artwork like this. So also along the same lines, this is a replica of Dick Johnson's racing helmet too. And what else can I point out to you? In here we've hung collection photographs alongside artworks about how artists, I guess, think about cars and how cars are in their memory. So this one is a nice one. This one's from a series called First Jobs, and I guess car washing was one of her first jobs. We've also got the drive-in theatre and a photograph from our collection that was a drive-in theatre ticket booth. I love this one. This is called Late Home. So this girl has arrived home a bit late from her date with her boyfriend, who's hanging in the background here, and Dad's not happy, and she's a bit worried about it. So yeah, that's really good. We have some digital stories here that we've commissioned. So this lady, Tracy Walker, runs a community group called Old Girls on the Road, and it's for female car enthusiasts who have old cars. Well, the criteria is it must have a chrome bumper and it must be registered in the woman's name. And they go out on runs, do a bit of fundraising and that sort of thing. And I actually went on one when we filmed this story, and it was great. It was so good. Because she said she has popped a bit of flack from the blokes when she goes to, Breeze Fest and things like that. So yeah, that's really nice. And then we'll go out here. So this section is a little bit of a nod to road safety. So of course cars have a toll, they can be quite dangerous, but for a summer exhibition we didn't really want to delve too deeply into that. So this is just a bit of a you know, something to make you think a little bit about road safety and the toll that cars have had. But also we wanted to feature this amazing thing. So this is from the Transport and Main Roads Department again, and it's a brake skills testing machine. It's straight from the 1980s and it still works and people have been using it. You can move the seat backwards and forwards, but it's a really fun thing to just test your reaction time and whether or not you can beat the machine. So yeah, make sure you have a go at that before you leave. And then over here we've got our off the beaten track section. So obviously Queenslanders or Australians in general have a deep love of taking cars off the bitumen, and we've probably been doing that ever since cars first arrived here. I love this photo here. So you can just tell by this woman's stance, she's furious. She's sort of saying, look at this bloody mess you've got us into. How are you going to get me out of here? And then, you know, stuck on the beach, digging the car out of the sand on Stradbroke Island. And then we've got pictures of cars in the outback and off the bitumen everywhere. I don't know about you, but I remember the days when you could ride in the back of a ute. That's probably a little bit dangerous. How people used to dress up their cars or modify their cars in those days. I just love this. This one just parked on the beach at Port Douglas. She's just driven out onto the beach and parked there. So we've always taken cars off-road where they probably shouldn't go so much. This is Magnetic Island. That's one of the island's taxis. This is the Tropic of Capricorn. Driving in the rainforest north of Cairns. Going through water, which we've always done. Although the If It's Flooded, Forget It campaign, I think has been very successful and making people think twice. Driving along on the beach and of course going to Fraser Island. So there was an early photo back here I didn't point out, but that was from a tourist album of Fraser Island that was from 1930s. So they tried to, a businessman from Maryborough tried to get tourism up and running on Fraser Island in the 30s. He set up Happy Valley. I don't know if you've been there, but it's still there today. But it didn't succeed because of the Depression. So basically tourism was on the back burner. It was all about sand mining and logging on Fraser for many, many years, until there was a big fight about expanding the sand mining there in the 70s, and all of a sudden everyone wanted to go. And apparently it gets over 500,000 people go there every year. And I had, like I was saying, I had the Transport and Main Roads guys in here the other day, and I told them that, and they said, oh, not for much longer. So it sounds like they're going to be stricter on their permits and things, because he said there's a lot of bad behaviour goes on over there. So I think they want to just tone it down a little bit. They're going to make it a bit harder to get to Fraser. Just letting you know. And this is the old Cherry Venture. Only way to get there is by four-wheel drive. It you can't see it anymore. I think they've removed it, or it's under sand now completely. Yeah, and then off-roading here as well. Cars off-road. So we have a little story here, a little section about the Min lights. So obviously the Min lights have been around for much longer than cars, but the fact that cars have opened up, you know, the state to way more people means that the sightings went through the roof. So the Boulia Shire Council, so Boulia is kind of the heart of Min country, has really kind of capitalised on that for their tourism. And they even have signs that tell you what to do in case you see the Min lights. So they say, don't slow down, don't stop your car, just keep driving steadily, and eventually they'll leave you alone. So we have a digital story here about people who've seen the Min lights. But as far as I know, there is no video footage or there's no photographs of it. So yeah, who knows? It's still an unexplained mystery. And then up here we have another digital story that we commissioned. This is the story of Francis Nona. He's a initiated Torres Strait Islander man, but he grew up. He's got from Saibai Island, but he grew up in West End. One of 6 children in a single mother household. They definitely had no car, and he dreamt of owning his own car one day, and he was the first in his family to get a license, the first in his family to drive a car, the first to buy a car, the first to finish high school, and the first to go to university. He put himself through uni and became a nurse, and then he's gone on to become an academic, and then he heard that Toyota was releasing its last ever turbo diesel 79 series Land Cruiser, and he knew he just had to have one. So he pulled out all the stops so he could buy this car. And he sees it, there it is there, he sees it as something that he's going to hand to his son. He uses it to go off-road and connect back to country. It's just a great story. And we invited him to have a look at some of our collections and select some things that resonated with him. So he chose this dari, which is a traditional headgear from the Torres Strait, used in cultural dancing, but it used to be worn by the warriors when they were fighting each other, and in artwork. But in here, he really loved this photograph album because he said it's still the same today. So you see there's a photo of the Holy Trinity Church and then his photo of the church. You see the fig tree at Landing Point, and it's still there, that fig tree at Landing Point. And then these photographs are of dugong hunting, and then he's got his photos, and he's just been up recently, and they went dugong hunting. So I guess he just is showing that Torres Strait culture is still alive, and it's resilient and still going today. So just a really nice story. And then around here, I'll just quickly show you the registration plate area. So, like I said, we worked with Transport and Main Roads quite a lot, and they had all of these old number plates which we loaned, including these quite rare Q plates. So before Q plates, registration was looked after by the police, and we had traffic districts. So Brisbane was A, Rockhampton was B, Toowoomba was C, and you had to paint the number onto a plate or onto your car yourself. So here, this is part of the RACQ archive. This is an A2 plate, so that's the second car registered in Brisbane, probably around about 1910 or 11. And we know that it belonged to a man called Dr. Charles Marks, because we have the Marks family collection here at State Library, and they also have kept a record of it. And he went on to get Q2. So here is the registration logbook when Main Roads was formed and Q plates came about in 1921. He got the second plate. So he would have had Q2 as well as A2. Unfortunately, the first page has been ripped out, but we do know that James Maguire had that for Q1, and you might have heard that Stefan bought Q1 at the Great Plate auction in 1980 something, and he still has it today. He's a real car enthusiast as well. Stefan the hairdresser, sorry, yeah, Stefan, yeah. So he bid for it. I think he paid like $1 million or something for it. And then because we were working with number plates, we got in touch with Personalised Plates Queensland, who were very happy to work with us. So we don't know this for sure because Transport and Main Roads don't release the figures publicly. But it looks like Queensland has the most personalised plates of anywhere in the country. We just love them here for some reason. But they have been very clever at marketing them as well and tapping into the zeitgeist a little bit. So here, I usually point out the Elvis plate. So this is the only Elvis plate outside of, I've forgotten the state. What's the state that he comes from in America? Tennessee. No, he had Memphis. Yeah, Tennessee. Yeah, you're right. So the only place outside of Memphis that did an Elvis plate. And then more recently, they got a license to do Hogwarts plates. So Harry Potter Hogwarts. It's the only place in the world where you can get Hogwarts branded number plates. And in this case, we have we've got Peter Beattie's papers from the ex-premier. So we've got his licenses in here as well as some really early driver's licenses. It's unclear to me when I've done my research whether or not the early driver's licenses came with an aptitude test. I'm pretty sure they didn't for a long time. They used to just give you the piece of paper to drive your car. And then we included these registration labels because there'll be generations of people who don't know what they are either. And it was interesting, the TMR people were saying they still get calls from people saying, I want my registration label. Because they said, I don't know when my rego's due. So yeah, you used to always have it on your windscreen and you'd always know when your registration was coming up to pay for it. So yeah, so that's pretty much the exhibition. Oh, some bumper stickers here on either side. So yeah, they used to be a big thing back when we had bumpers. I guess people put stickers on the back windscreen now. I have seen cars that do stick it on to the back panel, but not so common these days. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much everything in the show. If you have any questions, let me know.
What was the Cherry Venture? I've never heard of it.
Oh, the Cherry Venture. It was a wreck that had washed up on the beach. I think it was at near Double Island Point, so not on Fraser Island, just south of there. There was another one called the Mahino as well.
And just popular tourist.
It just became a tourist attraction.
No longer exists, is that right?
No. So I think the sand started swallowing it up over time, and then it became dangerous. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And if you don't mind me asking, I'm just really shocked that there's only a handful of Elvis plates. Is it just like copyright or something?
I think so. I think very tightly controlled. His image is very tightly controlled.
So there's only one
Not
in
the
Australia?
Queensland?
No. So Queensland's the only place outside of Memphis that you can get an Elvis number plate. Yeah.
So I could get one of them.
You could.
Yeah,
Well,
the
if they're
ones you can get in
still
Australia.
around, but I think you can. Yeah, if you wanted to. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, these are the very earliest personalised plates that came out. These two here. And Expo, only people who worked for Expo could have those on their number plate, so it was for the officials' cars.
Yep.
But that one, Tropical Queensland, Outback Queensland and the Great Barrier Reef, was the first time we'd ever had graphics on number plates.
Was that when they sort of started, the
That's
late
when
80s, early 90s?
It was actually the late 70s, very early 80s, but they were so rare, I hardly ever saw them.
I remember maybe, would have been a kid, early 90s maybe?
Yeah,
started
really,
becoming more-
yeah. I think they really exploded in popularity, around the early 90s.
Yeah.
And then it became so big that TMR had to outsource it. So there's a company that runs it now for TMR. Must be a big revenue earner.
Yeah, now you're sort of saying
So many, in every variety you can possibly imagine.
yeah.
So interesting stuff to see. There's lots to see and read about here. So take your time and and have a look through.
That was really good. Thanks for that.
No worries. Thank
Appreciate
you.
To introduce myself, I think I was a kid in the game.
Yes.
Gary Kites, I was a RACQ employee for 30 odd years.
Wow.
For my sins, I had some charge over the archives for the past.
Oh, did
So my
you?
question is, what progress might be made, if any, in terms of the RACQ
Archives?
handing over?
Yeah, so it's always going to happen. So I believe the hold up is the legal side, the lawyers for RACQ.
That'd be right, lawyers.
Yeah, that's right. So I think they're worried about the corporate records
Yeah, well,
more.
there's that aspect of it as well. But
Yeah.
the there's some, I don't
Oh.
know, have you had a chance?
I've
I'll
had
just
a
do
little bit of
another
a
look
So I
around
got my
before I go.
hands on this
Yeah.
and that, and a few items there because we've got a listing of everything that's
Yeah.
coming to us. So you must have had something to do with that.
My then, well, I'd been retired for 15 years
Oh,
now,
okay,
but my
yep.
then secretary, the redoubtable Robert Harris, who I always said, we're going to put you in the archives when you retire. She had bulldog like control
yeah,
over
great.
it, but there was some marvelous stuff.
Oh,
like
beautiful.
The old full leather
Beautiful.
motorcycle
Oh,
jacket, got part
wow.
of the uniform and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
like that. And,
Yes.
Of course, Charles Marx,
Yes.
his ram was still in
That's
the front
right.
and
That was rescued from like a paddock, wasn't it?
My minor claim to fame.
Did you rescue it?
Well, I sometimes forget the time frame, but there was a call from the National Heritage Committee. There was some federal government Congo who had some say over what stuff can be exported.
Oh, okay.
And
Oh,
a
right.
query
Yes,
was raised
yes.
whether this being a heritage item,
Yes.
the car of one of the first members of the RACU.
Yeah. Yep.
Some of these cabinets you can only get views from the bottom
So,
of the camera.
what do we have to do to
They're not so good with
And,
reflections from the top.
So we'll basically be able to come up with a counter offer to whatever's been offered to buy them for
Okay.
export.
Yep.
So we get it might have been something.
It's a blow up car up there.
Oh, okay. All right. So
then-
not too
I
crazy.
just need to grab the mic back off in a sec.
Yeah.
They're pretty mean
Yeah,
organisation. But our
right.
then CEO and president happened to be touring the American auto clubs at the time.
She's now
Yeah.
the curator that put the collection
Collection
together.
and they just happened to be standing in the foyer of one of the California clubs looking at, say, a 1930s tow truck.
Okay. Yeah.
And I said, what would you say to us buying a 1904 Wrangler owned by one of the original foundation members of the club?
Yeah.
I asked permission to film too.
Oh, fantastic.
And,
Fantastic.
to this day, I have a sneaking suspicion it was one of my fellow employees who's a great car buff.
Yeah, yeah.
Who probably planted that idea in the committee. So I
is that
thank him
right?
for that.
Yeah. Oh, what a great
Yeah.
find that was.
But seriously, from a personal point of view, it would be great that there is
Yes.
full-time
Yes.
custodianship of that
Yes.
collection. because
Well,
it's
I had a look through those lists,
Yeah.
The object list,
Yeah.
and I picked out items. So those car badges,
Yeah,
the
car
bag,
badges, yeah.
the little lapel badges and
Yeah.
things like that from the uniform. Picked all those out and these, and I said, yep, I want those. So I actually contacted them, and they said, yeah, fine, you can take them. So they're ours now.
It's good to see that stuff out.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. No, it's really good, but we're looking forward to it yet.
Yeah. I'll let you still maybe go on.
Yeah.
One more
Yeah,
step.
sure.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I just noticed that we had drive-in theatre.
Yes.
When was the first drive-in
Oh,
theatre?
I don't know. I don't know.
Sometime in the 50s, 60s, I'm thinking, or 60s, think.
60s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the shopping centre would have come first.
Yeah,
That was
1959.
59.
Yeah, so yeah, drive-ins, I don't know, I thought they were around in the 50s, but maybe
Well, they
it was
were
more
in
the
America.
60s. Yeah,
But definitely
yeah.
they had them in America.
That's right.
It could be like television. Television took a lot longer.
Yeah, to get
Come to
here.
Australia,
Yeah. So maybe, yeah, the 60s. Yeah. But I remember going, I was born in 71, and I remember going to the drive-in, putting a speaker on your window.
And making sure we remember to take it
Yeah.
off when you grow up.
Right, exactly.
I just read this fascinating book. I read a lot of books. You guys ever heard of a guy called Lee Gordon?
Oh yeah, the rock and roll.
Yeah, I didn't know much about him.
yeah.
I love rock. He was the first Australian major concert promoter.
Can I just grab that off your
He
bench?
invented.
Just give you my
Oh,
card.
thank you very much.
Hey, thanks a lot
He
for that.
actually
Thank you.
started the first,
Yeah, this here. It's a piece of artwork. Dick Johnson helmet. It's not a real helmet. It's made not real tools either. So they're wrapped in foil. Let me hang on a second. I've got to put this mic on. I picked off her. It's a little hard to do things with one hand. Yeah, I'll get out of here before I get done with the music. Welcome everybody. Please like and subscribe.
Oh yes, yes, I do have.
Don't know what the signal's like in an elevator, but we're going to test it.
Going down.